20 miles behind enemy lines, a Royal Flying Corps pilot and his observer are hurtling towards the ground following an aerial battle with the enemy. At the controls is Captain John Liddell on only his second operational sortie. In the face of overwhelming danger, he demonstrated unparalleled skill and bravery that earned him the Victoria Cross, the highest military honour in the British Empire. But who was this remarkable man from Newcastle upon Tyne, and what drove him to such heroics? Join us as we uncover the story of Captain John Liddell VC MC, a true hero of World War I. John Aidan Liddell was born on August 3, 1888 at Benwell Hall in Newcastle upon Tyne, North East England. He was the eldest of 5 children born to John Liddell, a Northumberland Justice of the Peace, and his wife Emily Catherine. From an early age, John displayed a keen interest in both academics and adventure. From the age of 12, he attended Stonyhurst College in Lancashire, where he spent 8 formative years before continuing his education at Balliol College, Oxford. While at Oxford, John excelled in the sciences and was particularly drawn to zoology. His academic interests earned him election to the British Astronomical Association at the age of 19, a rare achievement for someone so young. He was also offered a scholarship to study zoology further in the islands of Krakatoa, but he declined the scholarship because he felt a strong sense of duty to serve his country. Instead of continuing a scientific career, he chose to join the British Army, motivated by a desire not to be seen as a slacker. His commitment to service and adventure outweighed the opportunity for academic pursuits, leading him down a path that would later demonstrate his remarkable bravery and dedication. In 1912, he joined the Officers' Special Reserve of the 3rd Battalion of Princess Louisa's Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders. This was a period of transition for Liddell as he balanced his military aspirations with his passion for engineering and motoring. His keen interest in mechanical innovations became increasingly apparent, and it showed a glimpse into his future involvement in aviation. Along with his enlistment, he found time to pursue his interest in machinery and motoring, as well as the new technology of flight, and he travelled to Brooklands in Surrey to enrol with the Vickers Flying School, and on May 14, 1914, he was awarded his pilot's certificate. His fascination with flight was driven not only by a sense of adventure, but also by a desire to contribute to the growing field of aviation, which was becoming increasingly important to military strategy. John Liddell's military career began in earnest following his enlistment. When World War I broke out, now promoted to lieutenant, he embarked for France with his battalion on August 28, 1914. He quickly found himself in the midst of some of the most intense battles of the early war, where the realities of modern warfare were starkly evident. Liddell saw intense action, particularly at Mons, where the British Expeditionary Force faced relentless German advances. For his bravery and leadership in these battles, he was promoted to captain and awarded the Military Cross, a prestigious recognition of gallantry in the field. His citations specifically highlighted his actions during heavy fighting at Aubers Ridge, near Le Mesnil, where he displayed exceptional courage under fire. Liddell took command of his machine gun section, providing crucial cover and helping to hold the line against advancing enemy forces. His leadership and determination were instrumental in protecting his fellow soldiers during a critical phase of the retreat. The Military Cross was officially announced in the London Gazette on February 18, 1915, acknowledging his gallant and distinguished service in combat. However, the gruelling trench warfare took a toll on his health, and he was granted leave in early 1915. The harsh conditions of trench warfare had left him physically weakened and mentally drained. Realising that his physical condition might not allow him to return to the front lines, John sought a new way to serve: in the air. He viewed the Royal Flying Corps as an opportunity to continue serving his country, while also fulfilling his passion for flight. During May 1915, he was seconded from the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders to the Royal Flying Corps, where he underwent service flying training at Shoreham, Dover and Farnborough. On July 20th, 1915, following his successful training, he was accepted as an officer into the Royal Flying Corps, assigned to No. 7 Squadron and immediately dispatched to join his new squadron mates at Saint-Omer in France to begin flying reconnaissance missions over enemy territory. On July 29th, 1915, Captain Liddell embarked on his first operational sortie, flying the RE-5 reconnaissance aircraft. The Royal Aircraft Factory RE-5 was a two-seat reconnaissance and artillery observation biplane used extensively during World War I by the Royal Flying Corps. It featured a fixed tail skid landing gear and was powered by a nose-mounted Austro-Daimler engine, producing 120 horsepower. The aircraft had two open cockpits, with the observer seated in the forward position under the upper wing and the pilot behind. Known for its stability and reliability, the RE-5 was primarily employed for reconnaissance missions, mapping enemy positions and directing artillery fire. Despite its relatively modest speed of 78 miles per hour, or 126 kilometers per hour, and limited defensive capabilities, the aircraft played a crucial role in gathering intelligence on the front lines. His first mission saw him fly out from Saint-Omer and cover a route over Ostend, Bruges, Ghent, Oudenaarde and Eerste. Despite being engaged by the enemy and receiving 11 shrapnel holes in his aircraft, he returned safely to Saint-Omer, following a 3-hour and 50-minute flight with his crucial reconnaissance. 2 days later, on July 31st, 1915, Captain John Liddell, along with his observer, Second Lieutenant Roland Peck, embarked on his second and what would be his final mission. The mission was to fly an RE-5 reconnaissance aircraft over the Ostend-Bruges-Ghent area of Belgium. He and his observer were tasked with gathering vital intelligence on enemy movements. While flying between Ostend and Bruges and some 20 miles behind enemy lines, they were engaged by an enemy aircraft. The two aircraft exchanged fire, but while Second Lieutenant Peck was changing his ammunition drum, their aircraft took a direct burst of fire. Liddell was hit badly, his right thigh being shattered. Such was the severity of his injury that he lost consciousness, causing his aircraft to plummet toward the ground. With Second Lieutenant Peck clinging to his gun in the front cockpit, staring in horror at the ground rushing up toward them, Liddell regained consciousness and, despite his serious injury, somehow managed to regain control of his stricken aircraft and arrest the descent without a moment to spare. They had plummeted some 3,000 feet in the process. Their problems weren't over, however. They may have avoided being shot down, but they were still some 50 miles from Saint-Omer, with a seriously damaged aircraft and a severely injured pilot losing blood rapidly. Liddell weighed his options, and after considering landing in enemy territory and being taken prisoner, he instead opted to return his aircraft, along with his observer, back to the safety of Saint-Omer. Despite his injuries, damaged throttle controls and a missing undercarriage strut, he managed the 30-minute flight and landed safely. Upon landing, he improvised a splint using pieces of wood to stabilise his shattered thigh. A tourniquet was applied to stem the blood flow before he was rushed to the hospital at La Panne. For this act of extraordinary bravery, he was awarded the Victoria Cross. The citation praised his gallantry and composure in the face of near certain death. What do you think was going through John's mind as he fought to regain control of his aircraft? Share your thoughts below. He spent 4 weeks in hospital at La Panne, and his condition remained stable. And it was during this time that an astonished Captain Liddell learned that he'd been awarded the Victoria Cross for his actions. Sadly, John Liddell's heroic story did not have a happy ending. His injuries were severe, and his right leg had to be amputated in an attempt to save his life. But despite the best efforts of the medical team, gangrene had set in, and he succumbed to his wounds on August 31st, 1915, exactly 1 month after his final mission. John was buried in the Roman Catholic division of Basingstoke Cemetery, alongside his sister Dorothy, who actually served in the same hospital where he died. And on November 16th, at Buckingham Palace, John's father received his son's Victoria Cross from King George V. His legacy, however, lives on. Memorials to Captain Liddell can be found at Balliol College, the Scottish Naval and Military Residence in Edinburgh, and the Church of the Holy Rood in Stirling. His Victoria Cross and other medals are displayed at the Imperial War Museum in London, a testament to his bravery and sacrifice. And on the 29th of August 2017, at the Discovery Museum in Newcastle, the city of his birth, a tribute was unveiled to commemorate him and other local heroes. Thanks very much for watching. Please take a moment to hit the like button and consider subscribing.